How do green plants get their energy? We humans get our energy using respiration. Is it the same with the plants? Well, not entirely. Plants do respire to generate energy, but they don't have lungs, do they? So the mechanism used is completely different from that in humans. Before we move on to how plants respire, let's see how they use the energy from the sun to make food. Remember, we humans eat food to survive, but green plants make their own food. And that process is called the photosynthesis. The process by which green plants make their own food is photosynthesis. How does it happen? There are three things that the plant needs for photosynthesis: carbon dioxide from the air, water, and light. Yes, with just these three things, plants create their own food. Glucose is created and oxygen is released into the air from the leaves. They are the products of photosynthesis. So how will the photosynthesis equation look like? Carbon dioxide plus water plus light energy will give out glucose and oxygen. Plants get carbon dioxide from the air through their leaves and water from the ground through their roots. Light energy comes from the sun. The oxygen is released into the air through the leaves, but what happens with the glucose? The glucose produced can be turned into other substances such as starch, which is used as a store of energy. This energy can be released by respiration, which we will look at in a while. Before that, let's understand photosynthesis in a bit more detail. The leaves of the plant play the most important role in photosynthesis. Let's start with sunlight. If you look at a leaf of a plant, you see that the top of it is exposed to mist light. So the cells that are responsible for trapping light will be on the upper part of the leaf. And they contain cells called palisade cells. If we take a tiny portion of the leaf and look at the zoomed inside view, this is what we would see. This is the structure of a leaf. The palisade cells are packed full of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is like a green chemical that plants use to absorb light. And hey, that's why the top side of the leaf is darker than the bottom. Most leaves also have a large surface area so that they can trap as much sunlight as possible. What about carbon dioxide? How is that taken in by the leaf? That's where the bottom part of the leaf comes in. There are these tiny openings at the bottom of the leaf called the stomata. Carbon dioxide is diffused into the leaf through the stomata. These stomata are controlled by the C-shaped guard cells around it. They open or close the stomata depending on the requirement. For example, it opens up to take in carbon dioxide and closes to prevent other things like water from escaping the leaf. So the carbon dioxide comes in from the stomata, goes through the gaps in the spongy mesophyll and reaches the palisade layer for photosynthesis. The only thing that's left now is the water intake. It comes up through the roots, from the stem and enters the leaf through this hollow tube which is used for water transport. This is nothing but the veins that we see on the leaf. It's clear from this figure that these veins are used to distribute water throughout the leaf. Now the palisade cells have all three: sunlight, water and carbon dioxide. With this, they make their own food glucose and release oxygen. The surplus oxygen diffuses out of the leaf through the stomata. And to disallow unwanted stuff from getting in and the important stuff from getting out, we have the epidermis cells which provide the waxy coating called the cuticle. So that was the process of photosynthesis. Now to come to the respiration in plants. Living cells respire to get energy. It's the same with green plants. Do you remember the word equation for aerobic respiration in humans? Glucose plus oxygen gives us what? It releases energy and gives out carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. Plants respire in the same way. All parts of the plant respire: the leaves, the stems, the roots, and even the flowers. But the main part of the respiratory system of the plant is the leaf. They take in oxygen from the air through the stomata and also through pores in the stems or branches called the lenticels. Now if you remember, the stomata have guard cells around them which open and close them. During the day, the stomata remain open, but they close at night. So at night, the oxygen diffuses mainly through the lenticels which always remain open. And the carbon dioxide and the water vapor produced are also given out mainly through the lenticels. So what happens to a green plant overall? Photosynthesis or respiration? Well, plants respire all the time, but they photosynthesize only in sunlight. Yes, they cannot photosynthesize without sunlight. So this covers the basics of photosynthesis and respiration in plants. What about respiration in other organisms like earthworms, fish and amoeba? We will cover that next.